Your turn. Captain Bristlestash. Crosscrow. Your turn. Defeated.
This is going to...
So, we are going to a library to hunt for old books. Boring!
Wow, this place is incredible. Look at all these books. I could stay in here forever.
Stay focused, Hugo. We're here for one thing, to figure out how to stop the darkness. And be careful. This is no ordinary library.
Come on, Callie, it's just a bunch of stupid moldy books. It's the most boring quest ever.
Flynn!
Ah, gotcha! You see? And that's why I don't read.
The Coming of the Darkness by Pumphrey LaFuzzbottom. Great job, Flynn! This is exactly what we're looking for.
It is? I mean, of course it is. You know, I gotta admit that first chapter really pulls you in.
Skylanders of the light element are stronger in this zone.
I think I found a book about the darkness, but since this library is cursed, it might be best if you open it. There has got to be something within these pages that will give us a clue to stopping it. Have a look, Skylander, and be careful. All right, come back when you're ready.
I sure hope we find a way to stop the darkness.
Treasure. Money.
Pretty sure Callie found something, Skylander. But I'm gonna keep noodling through these dusty old books in the between time. You never know what we might happen upon.
Treasure.
Woohoo!
Money.
Double Dare Trigger Happy.
Before creating the portals, the ancients explored the universe using magical relics called rift engines. But in their haste to spread the light of Skylands to other worlds, they created a powerful rift engine that opened a door to a forbidden world and unleashed a destructive force into Skylands, the darkness. Centuries later, in the age of the Portal Masters, the world had ever known, no enemy or debris could stand before their might. But the darkness was still out there, somewhere, laying in wait.
Woohoo!
Suddenly, tremors and aftershocks rumbled throughout the land. Some great evil was being conjured in the arcane keep of the Spellpunks. The devious Spellpunks had unearthed the very same cursed relic that had allowed the darkness into Skylands centuries ago. The Dark Rift Engine. The Spellpunks had to be stopped before they could use its power to awaken the darkness. But the way to the Citadel had grown treacherous. Danger sprang from the shadows. The Spellpunks were drawing magic from the Dark Rift Engine, feeding power to the darkness. A welcome contribution to the next upgrade. It is widely known that fairies only accept cold, hard cash. The Skylanders fought their way through the danger, charging into the mouth of the Spellpunk Keep.
Level up.
Then, without warning, all of Skylands began to quake. And a wave of fear swept over the land as a great and terrible shadow erupted from the keep. It bellowed in a deep and malevolent voice. Behold, Skylands, I have returned. All shall fear and obey me. I am the darkness.
I had always heard that it was the ancients who let the darkness into Skylands, but I've never heard about that Dark Rift Engine. Still, we don't know how they managed to finally defeat it. We'll have to keep looking, Skylander. Maybe one of the others found something useful.
Hey, Skylander, look at this!
So, what I am thinking for this tale is a sort of fable on the dangers of excess. So, perhaps the hero discovers a secret room full of treasure. And not just some treasure, but a veritable cornucopia of coins and gold. But then, as they collect it, a metaphor arrives in the form of a crushing ball of covetousness. It chases the hero, destroying all in its wake.
Money.
And then, you know, the hero escapes a little richer, a little wiser, What do you think? Too highbrow?
You should try this one. The Charge of the First Light Squadron. It's about an elite squad of fighter pilots who took on the overwhelming forces of evil. Looks pretty turbulent in there. Best if you summon a sky vehicle if you want to take a look.
Stealth Stinger.
As the power of the darkness grew, the marauding forces that served it took control of the skies and terrorized the land. All hope seemed lost. Until a ragtag group of pilots was assembled with a single impossible goal: to hold back the encroaching evil and give the good people of Skylands a chance to escape to safety. This First Light Squadron took to the skies in defiance of all odds to meet this threat head-on. The darkness, underestimating our heroes, sent out a small group of fighters to crush them. And was sorely disappointed. Darkness, enraged at the squadron's continued success, brought more of its armada into the battle. But the First Light Squadron was undeterred. These enemies, too, would fall before the righteous might of these brave pilots. The Dark Forces were relentless in their attack. But the First Light Squadron was determined to destroy the Dark Galleon and cripple the Armada once and for all.
Invincibility.
Foes with authority and continued their quest.
Invincibility. Invincibility.
darkness was cunning and called forth the Dark Galleon to vanquish the squadron's hopes. Thus began the final charge of the First Light Squadron.
Sunrunner.
It's beating time!
The Armada of Darkness fell that day to a ragtag group of heroic pilots who refused to accept that their quest was impossible. Their courage would inspire all to rise up against the power of the darkness.
Now that was some serious flying. You see that, Skylander? The darkness isn't all powerful. It can be beaten. You should check with Flint. He might have found something useful. Hey, it's possible.
Hey, Skylander, you gotta see this book! Looks like this one here talks about how the Core of Light got made to give the darkness the old beatdown. There's probably more inside, but I'm not really in a hurry to crack it open, if you know what I mean, because it's kind of cursed, but you go right ahead.
The War of the Darkness had nearly been lost as all of Skylands was being held in its terrible grip. But there was one chance. A mythical device built by the ancients to combat the darkness had been discovered. It was called the Core of Light. But finding its location would be the most dangerous mission of them all. The darkness knew the Core of Light would be its end, and so it attacked. Its dark power was beyond comprehension. It shattered mountains and bridges with casual disdain. The darkness's rage was earth-shaking and all-consuming, for it knew that in order for its power to grow, the Core of Light must stay hidden. Undaunted, even in the face of this great evil, the Skylanders continued the quest. forth its evil servants to do its terrible bidding. But they would fall before the Skylander like limp bundles of experience and treasure. The darkness grew desperate. Again and again it attacked with renewed fury. And then, after a long journey, the lost citadel of the Portal Masters had been reached. The radiant purity of the core of light had been found at last. But in the distance, the darkness raged on.
Wowzers! Looks like the darkness almost conquered Skylands back in the olden days until they used the trusty core of light. But it stopped right before the good part. I totally can't wait to find out what happens next. Maybe the one Mags found will have more info. Don't keep me in suspense!
Dive bomber.
It's beating time!
Hey there, Skylander! Check this out! I'm not sure it'll help us much, but it's kind of a cool read. It's all about an evil Hydra monster. I've heard of that. Well, it turns out it used to be like a pet of some dark portal masters. Can you imagine that? It's like trying to housebreak a rabid honey badger. Not a good idea. Looks like you'll need a sea vehicle to read this one.
Servants of the darkness were known for keeping a lethal menagerie of creatures and beasts. None was more terrifying than a multi-headed monstrosity known as the Hydra. The Hydra's appetite for both food and destruction was without limit. Darkports gathered all the food in Skylands and dropped it in the sea. The people, hungry and deprived of all sustenance, called on their heroes, the Skylanders, for aid. The Skylander, heedless of danger, dove into the shadowed and endless depths of the sea to face the Hydra. But the lair of this Hydra was fraught with peril, danger, and exploding proximity mines. But the Hydra was not the only dangerous creature in this deep sea. Ravenous Hydra hatchlings hid, coiled in the rocks, and would strike without warning.
you
Wow, this place is incredible. Look at all these books. I could stay in here forever.
Stay focused, Hugo. We're here for one thing, to figure out how to stop the darkness. And be careful. This is no ordinary library.
Come on, Callie, it's just a bunch of stupid moldy books. It's the most boring quest ever.